Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, your heart pounding violently against your ribs, your palms sweating, your breath shortening, even though you are perfectly safe. Or picture yourself staring at the dark surface of deep water, feeling a wave of dread that makes no logical sense. What if that fear isn't truly yours? What if the terror rising inside you is not born from your own experiences, but from a memory that predates your existence? A memory etched not in your conscious mind, but in the silent chemistry of your DNA. Today, we explore a theory both unsettling and fascinating: the genetic memory theory, the idea that your fears may be echoes of ancient traumas carried through bloodlines across generations. For centuries, fear has been understood as a survival mechanism. The instinct to recoil from fire, to hesitate at great heights, to remain alert in darkness. These reactions protected our ancestors from very real dangers. But modern life has changed. We no longer face predators in the wild, yet the fear remains. Some people experience overwhelming phobias without any personal traumatic trigger. No childhood fall explains their fear of heights. No near-drowning incident justifies their panic in deep water. So where do these fears come from? Scientists began to ask whether trauma itself could leave a biological imprint, one that survives long after the original event is forgotten. This is where epigenetics enters the conversation. Unlike genetic mutations, which alter the DNA sequence itself, epigenetic changes modify how genes are expressed. Think of your DNA as a vast library. The books remain the same, but epigenetic markers decide which chapters are opened and which remain sealed. Trauma, especially intense stress, can trigger chemical tags that attach to DNA. These tags influence how the body responds to fear, stress hormones, and environmental threats. And astonishingly, some research suggests that these markers can be passed down to future generations without altering the underlying genetic code. One of the most discussed experiments in this field involved mice. Researchers exposed male mice to a specific scent paired with a mild electric shock. The mice developed a strong fear response to that smell, but here's where it becomes extraordinary. Their offspring, who had never experienced the shock, also showed heightened sensitivity and fear toward the same scent. Even the next generation demonstrated similar reactions. Scientists discovered epigenetic changes in the sperm of the original mice, suggesting that the trauma response had been biologically transmitted. A fear had crossed generations not through learning, but through molecular inheritance. Human studies offer equally compelling clues. Research involving descendants of survivors of extreme trauma such as war or famine has revealed altered stress hormone patterns in their children. In families connected to catastrophic events, researchers observed differences in cortisol regulation, the hormone central to the body's stress response. These descendants often showed heightened sensitivity to stress, anxiety disorders, or hypervigilance. It raised a haunting question. Can the body remember what the mind does not? Can trauma become a silent inheritance, shaping behavior long after the original suffering has ended? Consider a distant ancestor who survived a shipwreck, nearly drowning in freezing waters. The terror experienced in those moments would have flooded the body with stress hormones, altering gene expression patterns tied to survival. If epigenetic markers formed in response to that trauma, and if those markers were passed down, a modern descendant might feel an inexplicable panic when facing deep water. Not because of imagination, not because of personal experience, but because, biologically, their body interprets water as mortal danger. The fear becomes a chemical scar, a relic encoded in the bloodstream. However, the genetic memory theory remains controversial. While epigenetic inheritance is scientifically supported in certain contexts, the extent to which complex fears and phobias are directly transmitted across many human generations is still under investigation. The human environment is incredibly complex. Cultural learning, parental behavior, and social cues also shape fear responses. A child raised by an anxious parent may absorb subtle signals of danger without realizing it. The line between inherited chemistry and inherited behavior is thin and difficult to separate, yet the possibility remains powerful. If trauma can be passed down, could resilience also travel through bloodlines? If fear is inherited, perhaps courage is too. Our ancestors survived plagues, wars, natural disasters, starvation, and predators. Their bodies adapted, their genes responded. Their survival strategies may live within us, not only as anxiety but as strength. The same biological mechanisms that amplify fear might also sharpen awareness, enhance caution, and increase adaptability. What feels like irrational dread might once have been the reason your bloodline endured. Modern neuroscience adds another layer. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, operates far faster than conscious thought. It reacts before logic intervenes. If epigenetic markers influence how reactive the amygdala becomes, then inherited trauma could subtly prime our neural circuitry. You may think you are choosing your reactions, but beneath awareness, molecular signals may already be guiding your instincts. The past may whisper through chemical messengers, steering the present in invisible ways. So what does this mean for you? It means your fears may not be weaknesses. They may be signals from history, protective alarms forged in extreme circumstances. But understanding this also brings responsibility. If trauma can be transmitted, healing might interrupt the chain. Therapy, stress regulation, and safe environments could potentially influence epigenetic patterns in future generations. The legacy of blood is not fixed. Biology is dynamic. What was written in fear might be softened through awareness and care. As we close, consider this. When your heart races at the edge of a cliff, is it simply instinct or is it an echo? When darkness unsettles you, is it imagination or a memory older than language? The genetic memory theory challenges us to rethink identity itself. Perhaps we are not just individuals shaped by our own experiences, but living archives of ancestral survival. The question is no longer whether fear has a purpose, but whose fear it truly is. If this exploration changed the way you see yourself, stay with us. There are more hidden connections between science and the human experience waiting to be uncovered. Subscribe and join us as we continue to explore the mysteries written not only in history books, but in the silent code within us. But there is one more unsettling layer to this theory. If trauma can leave molecular fingerprints on future generations, then history is not as distant as we imagine. Wars, forced migrations, famine, persecution, these events may not end when the history books close. They may continue quietly inside the nervous systems of descendants who never witnessed the original horror. Entire populations could carry heightened vigilance, anxiety, or survival-driven behaviors shaped by events centuries old. This reframes generational pain not as weakness, but as biological continuity. The body becomes a time capsule, storing survival strategies long after the battlefield has turned to dust. Yet here's the paradox. Epigenetics is not destiny. The same mechanisms that allow trauma to mark gene expression also allow the environment to rewrite those marks. Studies suggest that supportive environments, strong social bonds, stress reduction, and therapeutic interventions may gradually modify epigenetic patterns. In other words, healing is not just emotional, it may be molecular. If fear can travel through bloodlines, perhaps healing can too. The decisions you make today, how you respond to stress, how you process fear, how you create safety could shape the biological inheritance of future generations. This transforms the genetic memory theory from something haunting into something empowering. You are not merely the result of ancient survival. You are an active participant in the ongoing biological story of your lineage. The fears you confront may not have begun with you, but how you respond to them could influence what is carried forward. Every moment of resilience, every act of courage, every effort to understand your own reactions may subtly reshape the silent code passed on after you are gone. So the next time your pulse quickens without explanation, pause. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What survived before me?" Perhaps that surge of fear once protected someone whose survival made your existence possible. And perhaps your awareness, right now, is the beginning of transforming that ancient alarm into something wiser, something balanced. If this idea changed how you see fear, leave a comment sharing which phobia or instinct has always felt unexplainable to you. Subscribe to the channel for more explorations where science meets the deepest mysteries of human existence. And if you're ready to question what else might be written in your DNA, stay with us because the next discovery might be closer to home than you think.